Harmony was the first giant step our medieval ancestors took as the year 1000 drew near.
The other was to alter the course of music history dramatically. It was the invention of musical notation. When a monk or nun sang plain chant in the centuries before about 800 AD, what they had in front of them was the text, in Latin, of what they were singing. Just the text. They had to memorise the melody. All this. This is one of the most spectacular feats of memory in the history of the human race. But it's also a bit mad. It might take 10 years of daily repetition and practice to memorise the entire plain-song repertoire for the church year. So it was deemed highly desirable to find a way of reminding yourself what the tunes for any bit of text might be.
This is a 3rd century Christian hymn written in ancient Greek. Above the words, tantalisingly, is a fledgling attempt at writing the tune down. Alas, so far at least, no one can agree on what exactly it's meant to sound like.
Hundreds of years went by until squiggles came along. That's not their real name, which is neumes, but squiggles are what they are.
This is a page from the Winchester Troper, the oldest surviving manuscript of organum anywhere in the world. It's the painstaking work of Anglo-Saxon monks.
What it shows is the Latin text that was intended to be sung with squiggles above the words and in the margin. The idea of the squiggles was to give some indication of whether the note of the melody went up or down over any given syllable, so they're better than nothing. But the squiggles had a major flaw. They were essentially a way of jogging your memory of a tune you already know. They're rubbish at teaching you a new tune from scratch.
That's because they're not very good at indicating just how high or low successive notes are supposed to be, like a map without longitude or latitude.
The breakthrough came in around 1000 in the Italian city of Arezzo, and it was the brainchild of a musical monk called Guido, known nowadays as Guido of Arezzo. Guido's methods were simple and clear. First of all, he gave the squiggles, or neumes, a standardised, easy-to-read form, so each note had its own symbol, or blob. He then drew 4 straight lines onto which the notes, or blobs, would be placed. One of the lines he made red to give you a fixed bearing as against all other tunes, a bit like the musical equivalent of the equator or the Greenwich meridian. So wherever the note or blob is placed represents its pitch position, that is, whether it's an A, B or C. La. If the note goes up, the blob goes up. La. If it goes down, blob goes down. La. Step by step. Ole, 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 ole.
Before Guido, you'd think up a tune and then teach it to everyone you know and hope they pass it on without mucking it up. After Guido, music could be fixed on a page and could be reproduced by someone who'd never heard the tune before. Guido's method has been refined over the years by indicating the duration of notes, for example, but it's essentially the same system we still use to notate music today.
But every time she asks me, do I look okay? I say, when I see your face, there's not a thing that I would change, 'cause you're amazing, just the way you are. And when you smile.
The ability to lay out multiple lines of melody on a kind of musical spreadsheet allowed composers to plot out far more complicated musical structures. This was to set music on a course towards greater and greater sophistication, all thanks to the bright idea of a monk from Arezzo.